Alright everyone, it's time for an update regarding Payday 3's server issues, quality of life changes, offline mode, and a whole host of other stuff that I want to get into in this video. Because there has been a Starbreeze company statement that's come out since my last video, there has been some information discovered that's been shared on Payday's Reddit regarding offline mode, and most importantly, Almir and Andreas have just done a live stream over on Payday's Twitch trying to answer a bunch of questions, or at least note things that they're attempting to work on at the moment while servers are still, to put it bluntly, not working anywhere close to what anyone wants. They are going to be doing this stream daily over the course of the next week and possibly longer, depending on how long it takes for the servers to be fixed. So if you guys want me to report daily videos on whatever they share, if I think there's anything relevant after today, I will do so. Because I don't know how many are going to be then just repeating the same questions, because they did, for example, pick out a lot of questions that were like, is this character coming back? Is this happening? Which were not relevant whatsoever. So I might pick out the key things and make videos. Let me know if you want to see them. But this is going to be the big chunk video for today because there's a lot to say in this one. So we're going to start off by looking at Starbreeze's company statement. This was put out at 8 AM this morning UK time, and it's just a bit of an address to everyone basically from Tobias Hergren, the company's CEO, talking about what's happened and giving us a bit more information so we know the gist. The message reads, Payday 3 matchmaking infrastructure has not performed as tested and expected. Matchmaking software encountered an unforeseen error which made it unable to handle the massive influx of players, and that issue caused an unrecoverable situation for Starbreeze's third-party matchmaking partner. A new version of the matchmaking server software was gradually deployed across all regions, leading to improved performance. However, a software update made by the partner during late Sunday again introduced instability to the matchmaking infrastructure. The partner continues to work to improve and stabilize Payday 3's online systems. This does somewhat hold up with what we've seen over the weekend. Saturday did have matchmaking errors, but on stream, I didn't really have anything to note, and then on Sunday, it all went wrong again, so it does line up at least somewhat with what we've seen from playing the game. The issue in question did not manifest during the technical betas or early access due to the specificity of rapid user influx and load balancing. In other words, too many people trying to get in, which, as I've said before, I just wish they did an open beta because it might have helped here, but you know what, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Starbreeze is currently evaluating all options, both short and long term. In the short term, this means that Starbreeze's focus is to ensure the player experience. In the long term, this means evaluating a new partner for matchmaking services and making Payday 3 less dependent on online services. An actual quote from Tobias is, we are disappointed in the issues our player base has faced during our launch weekend, but we are confident in our core product and the quality of Payday 3, and all available metrics point to it. We have a lot of diligent and consistent work ahead of us to regain community trust, but we will work hard to do it. The only other thing to note from Tobias himself is a tweet he made yesterday on Sunday afternoon saying that it's been communicated by Andreas, for example, that the team is looking at possibilities of adding in some sort of offline mode. So this lines up. They are acknowledging that we are saying that no offline option is terrible for Payday 3, because let's face it, it is. It's a terrible choice. It always has been. But he has basically suggested they are trying to look into it and explore the options and see what can be done. This is made worse, as I mentioned, by a recent Reddit post, which I have to bring up. It's been acknowledged by a lot of other people, and I haven't actually commented on it publicly. But this image was found within the game files, or in the debug mode, I should say, which shows a CrimeNet type screen with all the heist options and the ability to click play solo. So at some point, the game did have an offline play, and it was removed. What it does prove to us for fact is that they were working on it, so hopefully it gives them a slightly better stead to make sure they can try and add it back in at a later time. Fingers crossed. So that's the main chunk of things before today's live stream. But today's live stream, sorry for the flashbang, I should have warned everyone, apologies for that. I took some notes from the stream purely because I wanted to kind of jot down the most important bits and read through them all with you. So we've got a little bit here I'm going to read over, add some extra comment on based on what was said during the stream. If you want to, you can always just scroll through and read the stuff if you don't want to hear my commentary, but I'll try and offer thoughts wherever I can. So the stream's most important starting point was Almir talking about why it was always online. They wanted to avoid negative aspects of Payday 2, and he noted in specifics cheating and unreliable hosting. He also partially put it on consoles, wanting to maintain one community between PC and consoles. Fair enough, and because of that, with cross-play and cross-progression, etc., you needed stable platforms on stable servers. That all is all well and good. I understand it. You want to have everyone connected to the internet to the same version of the game, all playing on the same servers, so everyone can have the same version of the game. Very fair. However, the tutorials can be played offline, and they do monitor your progress and save the challenges when you've done them. So there is functionality to allow you to do it offline. Obviously, tutorials are different to full-on fledged heists. I get that. But hopefully it means they can explore it, like with it being in the debug files. So it's good that they've given a bit more of an explanation. It's one thing I really wanted them to share. And one thing I will say on the record right now is that before they did this live stream, the Starbreeze partners had a chat with Starbreeze with a few members in there. I'm under NDA, so I know it sucks. I can't tell you anything about it. However, what I will say is that there's going to be weekly dialogue going forward where the partners will be passing on feedback. And all I can say from what I've had today is that they are aware of a lot of the problems. They're hearing our feedback from my video, other people's videos, and they are taking it into consideration. So all we have to do is hope that is reflected in their actions. So fingers crossed. But I will do my best every week to let them know what you lot are thinking in the comment section below. So please keep sharing your feedback, keep sharing your thoughts, and I will do my best to pass those on wherever possible. Moving on though, they're working on making sure the servers are stable for now. That's their main focus, and unfortunately they don't have an ETA on that. As the statement from the company says, it's more to do with their matchmaking partner from the sounds of it. Might explain why they haven't named them, because it does seem a little bit like they're going to try and throw them under the bus. Well, not completely, but they're saying Sunday's problems were down to them and not Starbreeze, so I can understand them wanting to try and find a different partner. So whatever's going on there, they've got to focus on fixing that first. Flashbang incoming. But that is a job for the networking team, so other problems like stealth and loud options in matchmaking, which have been asked about, are going to have to wait until the servers are fixed, which is good. That needs to be the priority, that has to be the focus, and that's what matters most right now, that people can get in and play the game. If they can't add an offline mode immediately, they've got to make sure the online mode works. Fair enough. They noted quite a lot of things after that, and a lot of these are quality of life changes, which I just want to read through, because I think it might be interesting for those of you who didn't catch the stream to keep up to date with what's happening here. So I want to read through some of the key things here. They noticed about challenges being a very confusing layout right now. There's a lot of challenge pages and not very well sorted, so they may look at recommending challenges to you based on heists you play, guns you use, etc., and bringing those to the forefront, as well as ways to filter out the achievements just to basically make the UI a bit better. The challenges, sorry, not achievements, but they want to make the UI a bit more user-friendly, basically. Andreas has noted that several things in a future patch may well happen, so these are things that are kind of like higher on the priority list they want to do. So allowing you to have a chat in the lobby screen, so not in the heist itself, in the pre-game lobby, an unready button, muting the heist briefing, you'll be able to rename your loadouts, very good, improvements on challenges, as I've discussed, mouse and keyboard support for console, bit more on that later, and also something I'm desperate for, a quick play option. These are some of the lead things they're looking at right now for future patches, more on actual patches in a moment. They also pointed out about a safe house, saying that that could come later down the line, but it's not a focus right now. However, PS5 aim assist has had some problems, but that has been fixed in the upcoming patch, which is coming out on October 5th. It fixes a whole bunch of bugs, etc., and the patch notes will be shared close to the time. But one thing that Andreas did point out was that there is a bug apparently in Rock the Cradle, where when you restart the heist, the VIP blank card that you need for the stealth objectives just vanishes into thin air. That has been fixed, so you can keep an eye out for that. On top of that, they have also confirmed another patch for late October with bug fixes, quality of life changes, more focus on quality of life at that point, fingers crossed. But he has also noted that there will be a new skill line in that update, which is called Transporter. And he didn't spoil any of the skills other than one, which will allow you to carry 2 bags at once. It's going to be interesting to see how that changes the gameplay mechanic. I'll be very intrigued to see what that looks like. We'll see, obviously, when it gets added in late October and go from there. One thing I skipped over that's important mentioning here is that compensation is not really something they're talking about right now because they're more focused on fixing present problems, which I completely back. Right now, paying people back for the problems is not nearly as important as making sure people can play the game. I think there probably should be some kind of compensation, but it's a conversation for when things are running some more smoothly. For example, with the console heisters on the Crime Wave edition, when they were having a very long period of time without updates, about 400 days for the first big update, the big score update, they gave Xbox One and PlayStation 4 heisters Jacket and the Overkill weapon pack for free. I don't know what they'll do on that kind of level for a problem like this. We'll have to see. Maybe it'll be some free C-stacks or something, because I do think the C-stacks economy is a little bit unfair. But that's a topic for another video. Either way, let's continue. Text and voice chat in pre-game lobby is being considered. As I mentioned, that was mentioned again, so I took another note. Also, they made a point out of the die packs in solo. So if you've seen my review video of Payday 3, you'll know I've said there's a few things that don't feel very solo player friendly. Die pack disarming being one of them, so they are investigating it, but as I feared, they said they're not sure how it's going to impact the gameplay loop, and they're trying to see if they can find a way to make it work, so we'll see where that goes. I did think it was interesting to mention, though, not to kind of ramp up the Houston hype train again. They mentioned about a lot of characters, and like I said, a lot of it was kind of fluff of just saying the same things they've already said, but always when someone asks them a question about a feature they've not confirmed, they just go, we haven't confirmed this. However, when someone said, is Houston coming, they just said, maybe. So I don't want to be a gambling man or a betting man, but I think Houston coming to the game is fairly likely. So if you're in the mood to be excited for new characters, which I don't blame you if you're not, there's something to get excited over. So that's there for you. On top of that, there's some more details, as I've said, about the console, mouse, and keyboard compatibility. Apparently, it was in the game before they released it, but there were so many bugs with the consoles having mouse and keyboard, they just had to take it out, and they're going to see if they can revisit it, fix the bugs, and add it back in. So if you're looking for mouse and keyboard on console, that may well come soon enough. Kuroai is also being monitored to pick up on things for feedback, so things like being able to change Kuroai's outfits, maybe member priority, like which AI is shown, because for me it's always Dallas, Chains, and Wolf, or Hoxton, whatever, it's always the same 3 heisters basically, but they're looking to hopefully take feedback on that and then act on it. So it's a low priority, but if you have feedback for them, please do let them know. They did mention, I think further down, there is a website, I haven't got the note here, but they did mention it. There is a part on the website that allows you to upvote user feedback options. So go onto Payday 3's website and look for the feedback section, and people can apparently upvote suggestions. So go and leave your Kuroai thoughts there. They're also evaluating a jukebox feature for Payday 3, so being able to choose different tracks for different heists, and also a solo player feedback focus is going to be considered in future heists. So going forward, they'll try to avoid the die pack situations. Good. Glad to hear it. Final thoughts to read out. Patches are slower because of console approval time. I felt that was necessary to mention because, obviously, as I've said before, on Steam with Valve, you can very much just make a change to the game and Valve will just go, okay, there you go, switch is flipped, there's your update. However, on consoles, and it was the same thing with Payday 2's console updates, Microsoft and Sony both need to approve content before it's put out on all platforms. And because the game is consistent on all platforms with crossplay, if something has to be approved on Microsoft or Sony, everyone's got to wait for it. So that's why there hasn't been a patch yet. I think if it had been on PC, there'd have already been a patch by this point. It's taking longer because of consoles. Now, that is not an excuse for people to start having a go at console players. I'm not saying it for that reason. I'm sharing it so you understand the logic behind it. This is what console players had to put up with Payday 2. So we all have to wait until everyone can get the content together. Which, honestly, as much as I would have liked some fixes sooner, I'm glad that they're really focusing on making sure everyone gets everything at the same time. The second that you start prioritizing one platform is the second you start breaking all those promises all over again. So I'm glad that they're being very, very careful about that. On top of that, they're looking into party persistence with randoms. In other words, if you are playing a match with someone who wasn't in your party, you'll be able to keep playing with them in future heists. They are looking into that option so you can make new friends. It's necessary. Also considering old maps being reimagined, so classic heists, they're not confirmed but are on the table. I mean, they'd say that whether they have or haven't done it. There could be a classic heist coming in 3 months or 12 months, or there might be none coming at all. They just acknowledge that it is something people want. They are working on getting a modding policy written up. It's just not a priority right now, obviously because of everything else going on. Although they did mention that there was going to be a Halloween update. Well, they said maybe, but the way they said it, much like Houston, was kind of like, we're not saying it right now, but kind of thing. So, you know. On top of that, UI for the heist selection is also being looked into, so maybe more of a CrimeNet style thing would be very nice, but we'll see. And on top of that, they are looking into both lasers for your guns and also a kick feature. That last one I feel like is very important because I've heard already of people playing heists where you need everyone to assemble at the escape van and someone's gone AFK and the heist can't end. Stuff like that can't happen in Payday 3 and a kick feature is needed. Whether it's host kick, vote to kick, or if you can choose between the two, it needs to be in there. It's of the utmost importance, so hopefully that is added soon. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all of the most important parts of this update that I wanted to talk about with you all. So some of the key things from the live stream and also from the community post. Like I said, there will be streams going on every day from here on out until these problems are fixed. If you want me to keep you constantly updated, or whether you want me to do like a weekly roundup, let me know in the comment section below and I will do my best to deliver on whatever you guys ask for. But I'll leave this video here, get it out as soon as possible. I'll see you all very soon with some more content. Look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Much love.